I think next year,
Yes, it was
we'll know more about it, it'll be very well. Great idea. I think when people hear about it, it should be get better. Here's somebody else.
Is that you, Jim? Yeah.
Tough neighborhood, somebody trying to break into the car.
Oh, it was your car?
My son goes, oh, you wrote that, you know, my
And I'm like, there, so I was gonna come over that fence, I was on there, right? But if I don't know, I don't know. I'm trying to say, oh, there could have been that. And they're like, what here? And I get here,
Yep.
yes, yes. But they're, because he's rich, they're like, do it. Because he has a lot of money. I don't know, yes.
I would have died. I would have died.
Yeah.
My life's very different. Standing up here.
There is, they dug the basement. Yes. I thought they were putting a pool in it first.
Hey, John, nothing to do in Elmo, right?
They don't listen to me.
No, that's just for, yes, sir.
Everything quiet in Pocono?
No, we have to make sure that. I mean, I want to make sure that.
Trespassing. Dogs trespassing.
No, I don't.
Well, Here we go again.
Oh, it's yours.
You know that you're that funny,
Yeah.
I
did, thank you. Where'd you from? Huh? Nothing. Okay. Appreciate it. Oh, and the song thing. You know, I like this whole, I was saying, like, none of the families can see it, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, bring off. Did you see this? Whoever it was, thank you. I was fishing with work because we were here at 5, and I like brought my coffee, and I was like, I'm gonna drink all this. There's like, it's not, right? With a baby, no, it's not. There's never enough in this world right now. She's great, and then terrible at the same time. She is. I call her Chucky. So, Brian doesn't know who Chucky is, and I'm like, the animated doll that goes around killing people. And he's like, I have no idea. I'm like, if you showed him a picture, he would. He's like, why do you call her that? I'm like, she looks like a doll baby, but when she's bad, she's Chucky.
You make
Thank you. Hopefully it's okay. And you know what's so nice? We're sure exactly like that. Yeah, it's so funny. And I was like, happy.
So where are you signing?
Me? We went to the lake house for 5 days.
What lake?
Fullsboro. We have a house up there, and I took Brayden, my son, who's 10, and 3 of his friends. So I had 4 10-year-old boys in 5 days. That was fun. It was fun. I heard it was the last. Yeah. How are you? Thank you.
So what you put in your back room on Saturday? Yeah. Sure. Okay. We start the meeting with the pledge.
I was just letting you know. Well, I was letting you know in advance.
Okay. We got a countdown timer? Gotta wait for the sheriff.
Are you standing or sitting?
Hey, Joe?
He's standing.
Yes.
I am up. stand up again in a couple of minutes.
Oh, nice. How did you realize that on Saturday night? Did you? Jerry said it was fun.
Oh, it was great. Jared looked dashing in his red.
Oh my God, did you take a picture?
Something came through like an hour ago.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Better watch out for those G-men.
I'm sorry? Oh.
Everybody stand so we can salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Nan?
Here.
Commissioner Wynand? Here. Vice Chair Lee?
Here.
Commissioner Flaherty?
Here.
Commissioner Wilker? President Levesky?
I'm here.
On attendance?
For announcements, public comment policy has changed. For public comment at the beginning of the meeting, you'll be permitted 3 minutes on non-agenda items only. For action items, you may speak at the podium and be permitted 1 minute for your comments during that agenda item. Anyone have a public comment?
I'd like to ask a question.
Just 1 moment, there's someone at the podium.
Fair enough.
Frank Riley, Township resident. I just wanted to thank the Board of Commissioners for taking the time to listen and put forth the effort to help reduce some of the excessive noise within the township. And I also wanted to thank the Pocono Police Department for their diligence and determination in helping to eliminate the use of off-road motorcycles that were riding unchecked on the roads by my house. The problem seems to have come to a halt at this point. So again, I want to thank everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience have a public comment? Come on, sure.
Hello, I hate this thing. I just wanted to let the board know that the last meeting, Mr. Guadieri said that by his own admission that they were up to 27 dogs that have gone through the property. And he said the last litter of puppies was 4 puppies. If you look on their website, they have past litters. There's not one litter on there that's less than 9 puppies. Also, they've changed the way that they're advertising their puppies. Before, they would put the sire and the dam, the date of birth, and then how many puppies in the litter, and how many males and females. Now, it doesn't give the exact date of the birth. It does do the sire and the dam, but then it says just contact. After the zoning hearing, their lawyer wrote a letter to Mr. DeVito stating that because one of the conditions was they would have to get a state license, and saying that they didn't have enough dogs going through there to require a state license, but if they did, that they would apply for one. Now, by his own admission, they were up to 27 dogs, and that doesn't count the amount of dogs that have gone in and out of there over the past 8 months. So I just wanted to point that out and beg again for zoning to please enforce the zoning ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Altieri, Pocono Township resident for the past 18 months. In response to Ms. Park's comments, we have, she keeps insisting that we have all of these dogs. And I believe I had commented in a previous meeting that the dogs that are reflected on the website have either passed away or have been placed in other homes. We are down to 3 adult dogs right now. We placed our male dog with the family, and he's living a wonderful life. Hard to give up these dogs, but if we have to do it to keep our numbers down. So we're down to 3 adult female, and we will be keeping a puppy from this 4 litter. So we only have at the moment 7 Airedales, including the 4 puppies. I just get irritated that all of these embellishments and these lies that Ms. Parks is saying regarding the number of dogs that we have. She keeps insisting that we have 20 some odd dogs, which we never have had. We did have a family of 3 dogs stay at our place over 4th of July weekend. Dogs that we had bred that live on Staten Island. But we keep our numbers down below what it needs to be. What the maximum is, well below it. Also, there have been some shots fired from Ms. Parks' home. Seems to be more frequent, and I'm not sure if it's to rile up our dogs or why this is happening, but it seems at every twist, Ms. Parks is doing something to try to irritate our dogs and irritate us. We have a hearing on September 2nd, and I'm hopeful that we can get this past us. We have made considerable remedial measures on the fence that we have in the backyard, and we are doing a daily inspection just to make sure there aren't any places where dogs, could escape. So please trust us that we're doing everything in our power. We've spent thousands of dollars. We don't want to cause any
Thank you.
harm.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Thank
All right,
you.
thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who has a public comment? Anyone dialed in by phone that has a public comment?
I have a question.
Sure.
Does the Pocono Township have any
you state
ordinances
your
in
name?
place for, excuse me?
Could you please state your name for the record?
Oh, Jim Pellegrini, Swiftwater.
Thank you.
Yeah. Does the Pocono Township have any ordinances in place for data centers?
So currently, there is no active ordinance in place for data centers. There is the zoning ordinance rewrite, which addresses data centers very thoroughly, and this is part of the planning board of commissioner workshops that are currently ongoing. That's one scheduled for next Monday.
That's excellent. Can I get a copy of what it currently states?
Sure, Jim. If you could send me an email so that way I have your email address, I'll get you a copy of it.
Okay, and who's speaking? I'm sorry.
Jared.
Hey, Jared. Yeah, no worries. I'll send an email.
Sure.
And thank you for thinking about that.
Thank you. Is there anyone else dialed in by phone that has a public comment? No? Okay, moving on. Presentations. Tonight we have 2 interviews for a civil service alternate. Jared, how many alternate positions are there?
2 alternate open
2,
positions.
so they're okay to both stay in the room?
Yes.
Okay. May I please have Scott Raymond and Sean Brosnan come up to the podium? We'll just do it together, is that okay? Perfect. Hello. Thank you so much. service alternate. If the board would like to ask any questions?
I just, for either or both of you, what made you interested in this?
Just the mere fact to give something back to the township. I'm at a part of my life now where I have some more time available to do so, so I thought it would be a good time to step forward and try to help out.
For me, I'm a police officer with Stroud Regional Police, I'm state captain there. I live in Pocono Township. I've been here since 2012. 30 years with Stroud Regional Police. Some of my expertise is actually in hiring, discipline, field training. So I have a lot of experience with that. I have about 2.5 years left with the police department, and I will be retired. Upon speaking with Chief Flannery, he said there was an opening for something that was part of what I've been doing for the last 30 years. So I'd like to do something to give back to the township.
Thank you.
The fact that you're willing to volunteer is enough for me.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And then the meetings are once a month now?
They're on an as-needed basis, so we advertise as needed. So the next one will be August 25th at 3:30. And because of everyone's work schedule, trying to make it work, we're not advertising the whole year out. It's just as we need it, we'll advertise in the Pocono Record and on the website.
So if given the alternate position, you'd both be readily available to attend the meetings as needed?
Sure.
Perfect. Questions? Okay. Am I, motion, okay. So I would like to make a motion to give Scott Raymond and Sean Brosnan each the position of civil service alternate. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion? Anyone from the public have a comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Okay, so for presentations tonight, we have Hanover Engineering for Cranberry Creek Apartments and Restaurant.
So is there a good spot to set this up?
Right next to the podium.
Got some copies of the application that we sent in. I'm not sure if you've seen it also.
Thank you.
Anyone else need one? Anthony's handing out the copy of the revised site plan. So the reason we're here today is to kind of discuss with the commissioners the project that's shown before you here at Cranberry Creek Apartments. The project includes 150 apartments. Somewhere in the range of 50 to 75 of those will be one-bedroom apartments, and the remaining 75 to 100 would be two-bedroom apartments. In the center building will be on the first floor a restaurant. The number of seats is, with the application, I believe it was 134. We're going to have to reduce that. We're responding to some comments from your engineer, which required us to lose some parking spaces so that we can have parking within the 30-foot front parking buffer, and so we didn't have parking spaces within the 150-foot clear set triangle. So we've had to reduce the number of spaces, but we're going to have a commensurate reduction in the number of seats required or allowed for the restaurant to make up for those loss of 4 spaces. So it's 4 spaces, it'll be 8 seats less. So, we'll be looking at 126 seats instead. The reason that we went before the zoning hearing board was to request a reduction in parking spaces required. So your ordinance currently requires 2.25 spaces per apartment. There's actually a section in the zoning ordinance for the PRD that only requires 2 parking spaces per unit, and that's for units within a PRD, which can be 3-4 bedroom houses. And furthermore, the ITE that's within the documentation that I gave you, the ITE manual, which is a generally accepted engineering document that runs calculations as to the number of parking spaces required for various uses. If you choose the use that this applies to, general, urban, suburban, not within a half-mile rail transit, only 1.7 spaces per unit is required per this manual. We have proposed 2 spaces per unit, and what this does is it allows for these studies are done based on existing apartments. So they go to an apartment building, they say, this is the maximum number of parking spaces this required, and then they accumulate all that information, and that's where they come up with these recommended numbers. So it includes things like having visitors. It includes things like people having parties, and further working in our benefit is the fact that this is a mixed use. So we have 70-some parking spaces for the restaurant use proposed. The restaurant is not going to have people in it after 9-10 o'clock at night, which is when you're going to have the most people park there for the apartments. That's when most people are home. So you're going to have the most amount of parking there for the residents at a time when there's going to be 0 people parked there for the restaurant. So you're going to have basically 76 extra spots overnight for the residents to park in.
Are you saying you're using the restaurant parking for the apartments?
I want to clarify something. The restaurant as it exists, as the meets the ordinance. So I think what happened when we attended the zoning hearing was that you hadn't had an opportunity to understand exactly what we were asking for. So I understand, and that's why we extended that hearing to give us an opportunity to explain what we're actually looking for. The restaurant, we are not asking for any relief whatsoever on the restaurant. So if you assume that that stands on its own, has all the parking necessary to accommodate the clients, the patrons, based on the number of seats. Separate that, now we go to the apartments, 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, your 2.25 ordinance is rather high given our experience, given our other apartment buildings, and the fact that these are only 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. So we're really isolating this variance request. It's to the whole project, of course, but the need for the variance exists on the apartments only. All right, the restaurant is at, completely meets your ordinance requirement. So that being said, now Sal is saying we have other projects that we've asked for relief on, and we've demonstrated in our own experience with other projects that we don't need the parking that the township requires. We are going to meet the ITE, and we are going to be beyond the ITE by not 1.75 but to 2 spaces per apartment. So we're going well above what the ITE asked for, and we're also going above what we have asked the township for in the past for just apartments. So that being said, we want to just make sure you understand what we are and what we're not asking for. If you need to know that we're going to limit it to 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, we're willing to state that at the zoning hearing. We can stipulate that as a condition, but there are 2 bedrooms in the 2 flanking buildings, and the center building will have a 50% mix of 1 and 2s. I'm sorry, that's all the ones, right? The center building, I'm sorry. So, we're certainly comfortable with the amount of spots that we have for our tenants, and the shortfall of parking would only hurt us, because if we don't have sufficient parking for our tenants, we lose tenants. We won't be able to accommodate them, we won't be able to attract them. Creates a problem more for us than it does for anybody else. So we're certainly not going to ask for something that's going to hurt us or the township.
So, in your application, it states buildings 1 and 3 will include 50 one and two bedroom apartments, and building 2 will include 50 one and two bedroom apartments. But it contradicts this table, because this table says building 1 and building 3 will be all 2 bedroom apartments, and building 2 will be all 1 bedrooms.
That's correct.
Yeah, the intent, that must be, that's a typo on the letter.
Yeah,
So
that's-
the parking calculations were also submitted with the application.
What you have there, though, is correct, so,
This table.
correct.
Yeah, so they're all, be all 1 bedroom in the center building.
Yeah.
The 2 flanking buildings will be 2 bedrooms.
So,
So there's 50 each.
Because it says buildings, on your application, it says buildings 1 and 3 will include 50 one and two bedroom apartments, and building 2 will include 50 one and two bedroom apartments, but this table says the two singular buildings will be 2 bedrooms, and then the building that shares with the restaurant will be all 1.
Yeah, I'll make sure that it's clear here.
That's fine, it's just.
Yeah, it's,
that
so
way
the
it's
2 flanking, so we will have 100 2-bedroom units and 50
1
1-bedrooms.
bedrooms, and then 134 seat restaurant, okay, that's what I got off the table.
134 seat restaurant. And, you know, a little history on this is that we were initially proposing just apartments. And at that time, the commissioners at that time expressed through the then manager for the township that, hey, this is a great piece of commercial property within the township. We'd like to see some commercial aspect of it. Could you possibly do something of that? And I agreed. So with that, we incorporated the restaurant. We certainly didn't do that to create an additional hardship for ourselves. We were trying to accommodate the township's wishes, and we've done so. But again, we're not hurting ourselves with regard to the need for parking. We did have that middle building initially planned for 5 stories. We've taken it down to 4 stories. So we're going in the right direction. We're trying not to overbuild there. So we were quite surprised that the township had sent the solicitor to potentially object to the variance request. So again, we wanted to come here and make sure that you were clear and understood of what we were asking and what we were not asking for. So
I think there was a lot of confusion regarding the project, and just to clarify, so the restaurant for the 134 seats has 70 spaces. 67, or 6,070. Didn't he?
So 1 for every 2 seats, plus 1 for every employee. So that's what's required.
So there's
These
no.
numbers are gonna change because we have to reduce the parking.
Okay,
So,
but you're
we're
not
gonna have to
asking for
redo
any.
this
Okay.
letter when we go in for the application.
we will only be making the request
On
for the apartment
the
side of things.
51 bedroom apartments.
We'll meet the
in that
100% of what's required for the restaurant.
Yeah, we'll make sure the reduction will come to the restaurant, so the restaurant will have to receive.
And we're looking for 2 spaces.
Yeah.
And we'll be asking for 2 spaces per apartment, which is in excess of what we've needed for some other projects.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so to be clear, there's 150 apartments, there's 300 spaces for that. There's 67, 70, whatever the number is, spaces needed by the per the ordinance for the parking for the restaurant, which we are providing 100% of.
That's also
We're-
overflow when the restaurant's
So
closed.
it's gonna be a total of 370.
39 spots. Right?
What's that?
The reduction's 39 spots,
Yeah,
and there's
I think
50
that's what it is.
single-bedroom apartments. And even the best apartments have some vacancy, I would imagine.
One would hope not, but yeah,
And
it is a
perfect,
fact.
the answer's no.
In a perfect world.
Does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, I'm just not sure where the guests will park. Not everybody has coming.
Typically, the ITE is factoring that in, and I think when it comes to smaller units, if you have 6 or 8 unit apartments, that you may have that concern. But when the larger the numbers get, the more vacancy, the more people are traveling, the more people are working nights and some days. You get a larger sample, and you end up with a lot of parking. We have parking spaces down in East Stroudsburg where we have an entire lot that is empty all of the time, and the only thing we get out of that is loitering and having to chase children and kids out of there because they found an empty parking space. So we don't want that to happen here either. We'd like to have a sufficient amount of parking, plenty for the restaurant. And again, if the restaurant is open for dinner 4 or 5 hours a day, there'll be plenty of, we can only benefit from that, so we should be higher. But the ITE does take that into consideration.
Remind me too, on the Pangea project, that piece of property, you're putting a bus stop in there, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Are you looking at doing the same thing with this piece of property as well, so it will be on the bus route with a bus stop, or
Yeah,
is it too early to decide that?
We're providing sidewalk along the entire frontage, and there's an existing bus stop there now.
Okay,
So
so
we're
you're
just
gonna keep it?
we're just-
Okay, so it'll be public transportation.
And the bridge and parking on the other side of the creek that a Pocono Township board made you build near Swiftwater Apartments, has there ever been a car on there?
No, there's no parking there. The bridge to nowhere.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm still confused. If you have a 2-bedroom apartment, married couples, they usually have their own car, so that's 2 cars per apartment. So that's 100. And then you have a guest, and where are they parking?
Well, and again, in a very small sampling, you might have that situation somewhere, but when you have multiple apartments like this, a substantial amount of our apartment owners or occupants have 2 bedrooms and only have 1 car, a substantial amount. So the blend comes in that not everybody has 2 cars. As a matter of fact, the ITE also takes into consideration, if you do have public transportation, that car need for parking gets reduced even further. We're going by that, and I think they're looking at 1.75. But again, I think, Ellen, that your questions and your concerns are legitimate. I think that it's something that would be a natural inclination to think, but again, you have to rely on, there's 200 apartments, and when you have that many units, the blend just really, the need for parking dissipates. But we have so many people that have 1 car for multiple bedrooms, 1 car for 1 bedroom. We have some people that have no cars. And in addition, then we've got some ADA required units. They may or may not have a car. So it blends very well.
There's only 150 apartments already, not 200.
I'm sorry, this one 150, yeah. But yeah, I think your inclination is correct, but the reality of how this all works is a surprise to many, but it's factual.
Anyone else have any questions?
No, I can do this.
Leo, do you need anything else from them?
So,
Not from them, I think Rich has a item on his part of the agenda, I mean.
Okay,
okay, thank you very much.
thank you both. Okay. There are no hearings tonight under resolutions. I would like to make a motion to approve resolution 2025-29, amending the Pocono Township's fee schedule regarding the annual licensing fees for transient dwelling use of a single-family dwelling. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion?
Just to add to that, that would be changing the short-term rental license fee from $500 to $2,500 a year.
That's correct.
Any discussion on the commissioners? Anyone in the public like to make a comment regarding changing the short-term rental fee from $500 to $2,500 per year? No? Anyone dialed in by phone have a comment?
And what is the money gonna go for?
It would just go towards the general fund as an offset additional revenue, so basically less on the taxpayers, more on the tourists.
What, like infrastructure and stuff, is that where that goes?
I'm sorry?
Where does it actually go, for like infrastructure and things of that nature?
It would just go right to the general fund, so, and anything
Okay.
in the general fund, yeah, the payroll.
General fund is the general fund, I got you, thanks.
And it's also to mitigate the expenses that we incurred for these short-term rentals. You have manpower involved. And I don't know if you want to add to that, Leo.
I mean, yeah, it's been a hot button issue, depending on where they're located. Currently, they're only permitted in commercial recreation districts. A lot of them appear in the R1 districts, and the township has a pretty thorough investigation and enforcement, and it would help freeze up the costs for zoning and their solicitor office.
Do the police get any access to that fund if they get called out and whatnot?
It's not so much that people reach into the pot, it's just that it's a way of increasing revenue that can be passed on to others that come into Pocono Township, and it's a way of trying to relieve the burden on the residents themselves and find a hopeful additional stream of revenue. But to answer your question, there are costs that are associated with short-term rentals, and that's what this is designed to do. There's inspections and there's licenses and there's things of that sort. So, but it's not a fund that somebody can tap into. It goes into the general fund to be used for general township expenses.
Thank you for the explanation.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
nays? Motion carried. Next, I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-30, authorizing signatures on LDS grant for 3 new police Ford Explorers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Discussion?
This is just to get a grant, right? Yeah.
This is the application for the grant. We have to pass a resolution for it. It's not LDS, it's LSA.
LSA.
Better be saying that.
Sure, yeah.
I will amend my motion to say LSA instead of LDS. Brian, you accept, okay? Anyone have a comment regarding this motion? Anyone dialed in by phone that has a comment? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. The next one has a blank. Jared, 2025 blank. Right?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-31, granting conditional approval for the 122 and 144 Alita Hill minor subdivision, LDP 1447. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Yeah, I read through it, and I guess these properties have some non-conforming issues that aren't necessarily going to be fixed with this, right? They'll still be non-conforming. Is that right, Leo?
I would have to check, I'm sorry, I would have to check with Lisa on this. Unless John is aware of those non-conforming issues. I'm not personally aware of them, Alan.
This is also known as the Ware subdivision, and the parties are here tonight.
I think they only been here before, okay.
Alan, I think the only non-conforming issue that I identified was a well that's within the setback. Other than that, these are large lots that are just being subdivided and recombined in a different configuration. The other issue that doesn't agree with new planning ordinances is there's what we would term a reverse frontage lot, which means one lot will have frontage on Bowita Hill and also on the SR, I'm not sure what it is, 314. We've asked them to restrict access to Bowita Hill so that you don't have a through lot. So those are the only two non-conformities on it.
I thought there was more of it. And this is just to get 2 pieces instead of 4?
Well, yeah, yes. The lots that, there was a large parcel that my neighbors and I had purchased a number of years ago, which was a 10-acre parcel. More or less just to stop, at the time was a developer that was going to subdivide it into 5 lots and put houses. So we purchased it. We're now subdividing that 10-acre lot into 2/5s and just joining it to our existing properties. That gives us some flexibility if we want to do things. Some of the setbacks, why they're non-conformities now is because when we built the homes and stuff, setbacks were 15 feet, now they're 25 feet. So everything looks like, because I panicked when I saw the drawings the first time. I was like, wait a second, my garage, and I said, no, it's not there. And he goes, no, because setbacks have changed over the years. So that's some of what was going on. Yeah, there's no problem with trying to even access 314 unless I have probably a bunch of Sherman tanks to try and climb the hill. It would be impossible to even access 314. So take you into just Weeda Hill is perfectly, it's not a through lot. So, but that's pretty much all we're doing. It's just kind of also helping our kids in the future that if they don't have to worry about subdividing the lot. So that's all we have.
Thank you. Any other questions from the commissioners? No? Anyone in the public have a comment or a question? Anyone down by phone? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on to consent agenda. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda of the following items. Old business consisting of the minutes of the August 4th, 2025 regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners, financial transactions through August 18th, 2025 as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $675,750.54 for the following accounts: general fund, sewer operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, construction fund, transfers. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion? Any questions or comments from the public? Anyone down by phone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Under new business, personnel, Mr. Grieco, would you like to discuss a little bit?
Yes, thank you. So, as we had spoken at a prior meeting, one of our long-term DPW employees, Tom Schick, retired from his position, and we have followed the employment manual for the DPW and have a recommendation for a new hire for that position. Someone who's actually worked part-time for the township and has done an admirable job. So we would like to recommend to the board the hire of Kenneth Britton.
Freehart. The craftsman who built our trophy case.
His work is on display right outside the corner here, amongst other things.
Perfect, thank you. With that, I'd like to make a motion to hire Kenneth Freehart for a full-time public works position that was vacated by the retirement of Tom Schick. Is there a second?
Yes.
Second by Brian. Discussion? Any questions or comments from the public? Anyone down by phone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve the indemnification agreement between the Township of Pocono and Erdl Development LLC regarding the Wawa to be located at tax ID number 12.9.1.73. Is there a second?
second.
I have to abstain.
Second by Natasha. Discussion?
The only thing that I have a
Anybody
question on is,
know?
Leo, would you review this?
We reviewed it. The developer is also required to post $50,000 as security, and that money has been posted. We confirmed that with the township today.
Before we vote, anybody in the audience have any questions?
Yes.
And we have the certificate of insurance as required?
I believe so.
Yes.
Charles Kepler, resident. I'd just like to ask if Commissioner Wynot could state the nature of his conflict
Yes,
of
I
interest
can,
for the
Chuck.
abstention.
I can for sure.
Yes, thank you. I didn't see it attached to the agenda.
Signed a contract to do that work.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else, Natasha?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Any nays? Any nays?
Abstain.
Did the motion carry, Natasha?
Yes, motion carried.
I couldn't hear.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to withdraw, I want to make a motion to withdraw the solicitor attending the Cranberry Creek Zoning Hearing Board. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Natasha. Discussion?
I didn't even hear the motion.
To withdraw the solicitor attending the Cranberry Creek zoning hearing board. I second it, yes.
I would really like them to attend.
I think for all the reasons that you just heard in the presentation from Mr. Malla and his engineer, I don't see any reason to send Leo. So, is there any other concerns from anybody else on the board? Anybody in the audience wish to make a comment regarding this?
There's no one, Rich.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
Nay.
Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the enrollment of Chief James Wagner to the DROP program. Is there a second?
I'll sadly second that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Discussion?
Well, it's 3 years.
And it can always be
Still,
extended.
countdown starts though.
Extended too, though.
Yeah,
The board does not make special motion for it, but that's the overall.
That would be 36 years. Here.
I mean, if you're that high,
That's
it's
fine.
40.
I have to go for it.
You're young. You look like you're 25. Come on, we're not buying.
No, I'd like to start playing some more golf.
Oh.
Like Leah.
Wow.
Anybody in the audience have a comment regarding this?
What is the drop program?
So, go ahead, Jerry.
It's a pension. Go ahead.
It's a deferred retirement program, so it gives us the defined term of when he would be retiring by. It also separates the pension and creates an additional savings account.
Anyone else have any comments? No, Rich.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the following PTPD policies: custodial searches, prison rape elimination, transponding persons in custody, recruitment and selection, special assignments and promotions, anti-retaliation, reporting of arrests, convictions, and court orders, drug and alcohol-free workplace, sick leave, communicable diseases, facial recognition technology use. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
And Jim, you were okay with all these?
Yes.
Anybody in the audience?
No, Rich.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Hey, Leo, before I move on, would it be appropriate, I know it's not on the agenda, but I'd be willing to open the agenda, to make the motion to grant the waiver for, what is it, Cranberry Creek parking? Or is that not appropriate?
Well, that's a zoning decision, Rich. The issue was, the board had previously, without having heard from the applicant, authorized me to attend and oppose the request. The developer in this instance continued the zoning hearing previously to be given the opportunity to come to the board and explain why they were opposed to the request. So your motion to not send me to oppose it would mean that they would go and take their chances in front of the zoning hearing board without the township solicitor asking questions and presenting testimony in opposition. So it's a zoning matter, and that matter now is, as far as my attendance is done, but it's up to the zoning hearing board as to whether or not they grant the relief sought.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's all I have, Natasha. Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight on my agenda, I would like to make a motion to create a three-way intersection at Cranberry Road and Sycamore Drive, following the township engineer's recommendations after a traffic safety study. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Has that study been done? Are you off a study?
John already did it.
Yes, I completed the study, and that is my recommendation for that intersection.
That's Woodland, yeah. Woodland and Cranberry is adding a stop sign both ways to kind of slow down some of the traffic on
We
Cranberry.
made a lot of people on that road very happy.
Well, it's a racetrack, let's be honest. Anyone in the public have a comment or question? Anyone dialed in by phone?
You pressed the wrong button.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Motion carried. Commissioner Fan?
Yes, start with, John, any update on the solar field?
There is no update as far as violations go. We continue to make inspections. They're about 90% complete with erecting panels in phase C. In phase D, they're putting in their posts, and this is after they got approval for their revised final land development plan, which means they're not doing any of the mass grading anymore. They're just working more with the contours, so there's a lot less earth disturbance taking place in these later phases. They're also changed their practice. They get in, once they've gotten 2 rows of panels in, they're doing their seeding and mulching as opposed to waiting till everything is done. So we believe they're working hard to control any problems out there, and we're continuing to monitor it.
I'd like to make a motion to post the video meetings to our website once it's up and running. Jared has prepared like a resolution / policy that would say what that retention period is, how they get destroyed, and the things to follow.
I'll second that for discussion purposes.
So are we,
Go ahead.
approving the policy tonight? You haven't seen it?
No, I'm not. This has to come up again, not tonight, but I'm making a motion that we do it, and then the policy should be drafted, and then you vote on this. Policy is up. But it is drafted, and
Yeah, I can send
but
it out
it
to
has
the
to go
board.
on another agenda, because it's not on this agenda.
Video has always been something that has somewhat uncharted territory. If you look at all the townships, no one posts their video online. So we kind of did a deep dive into it. You know, the county does, 2 of the schools do. So just so that we can post it online, just so that there's a policy that follows it. This also incorporates the Pennsylvania State Records Retention Act, you know, the right to know aspects. It also revamps the audio recording changes, you know, where the old policy is that it gets destroyed after the meeting minutes from the last meeting are accepted. This would keep the audio recordings for up to 7 years following the Pennsylvania Records Retention Act as well, and go through posting the videos online, how it would be posted, time limits, and everything like that. So I know that was important to Ellen. So rather than just make a motion and not encompass everything, this takes care of audio, video, where it's posted, you know, right to know request, the whole 9. So I wanted Ellen just to peruse it, and if you're good with that, I'll just get it out to the rest of the board. You can adopt it at the next meeting.
So, I'm not opposed to the videos going on the website. I am opposed to pushing through at this point without reading the policy first,
Yeah, I agree with Natasha. I'd like to see what this all says before I vote on it. It's a little premature.
No. Review the policy.
Well, no,
These are, I mean, it's kind of two different
this
things.
is not to create the policy, this is not to create the policy, this is to actually move forward with posting.
Well, right, but are you in favor of putting it on there? And if you are, then you need a policy. If you're not, then this is worthless, right? So
Should we read
that's,
this before we agree?
well, you're not agreeing to this, we just, are you interested in posting these two?
Yeah, Ellen's motion is just to post the videos online. I guess we could amend the motion saying, pending, records, video, audio retention policy approval.
That's all it is. I mean, but either way,
I
they
don't-
should post it until this is.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we see the policy, if there's a second.
That makes sense, I'll second that. Yeah.
So I'll get that out to the board this evening, and then we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
Madam Vice President, I believe you were going here. It's being tabled, so there's no discussion. However, I think we're going to offer
Yes.
the public comment.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. Does anyone in the public have a comment?
I think it's a great idea.
Anyone got a microphone? I
Yeah.
can't see how people are tapping it, I apologize. Okay.
No, I think it's a great idea, and I appreciate you guys bringing that up.
So all in favor to table the motion?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Jared, if you please, you said you'll email that out to all of us so we can all review it and
Yep.
have any questions? Okay.
And then the other ones I just want to discuss first, I have them on here as possible motions, but I just want to get, before I do them, your feeling. We have someone at our church that has started a bakery. They're doing it from their home, selling coffee, they're going out to various markets. And we happen to have an old bakery with old equipment, which they might be interested in, specifically a mixer and maybe an oven. So, and this might be a legal question, do we need to put that on municipal bid, or can that be sold based on the price if it's below a certain threshold?
Yeah, I believe there's a price threshold. You'd have to find out whether you talk to an auctioneer or somebody else what the price is, the anticipated price. But I believe that that is the case. If not, then it would have to go on municipal. But you should know what the price is. It's $20.
Do not profit.
We donated some to bar. There's not much left, but there is some items left that I'm sure they could use. It's just for past practice for municipal items. Everything's always started at $1, and unless it's a vehicle or anything else, it's got a reserve. But everything else has always just started at $1 historically.
Does it cost us anything to put on municipal bid?
Only if it sells, and ultimately the buyer is the one who pays the premium.
It's like 5%. Then, okay. Then I guess I will make a motion to put the bakery equipment up for municipal bid. And if you could let me know, so I can let them know.
I'll send the board a copy of all the links.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
Do we get some of the baked goods?
My next discussion. They're really good, they're like coffee cakes at church.
Yeah.
Vicky can attest.
Anyone in the public have a comment or question?
Mike's fat enough.
Thanks, Joe.
Oh, Joe woke up this morning.
No, just saying.
Anyone down the microphone have a comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Anything?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And then my other, and this is probably not a motion today because I don't know, but I've been approached to see if we would consider, I don't know what shape that bakery's in or consider renting that bakery out to an individual to run it as a bakery again and collect rent.
We can't, we're not allowed to collect rent, is that correct, Leo?
No, actually, we looked into that, Ellen gave me a heads up, and you can do that. The policy question is, do you want to be a landlord?
You are gonna be for the county, right? Is that?
Well, you are for the county.
So,
Yeah.
I thought we weren't allowed to collect rent, which is why we had all those tenants vacate the property.
No, we haven't vacated the property, so we wouldn't have to spend the time and money and effort to get them to vacate
And being a landlord.
and be a landlord. But that's a policy decision.
And my other idea, depending on how big that building is, you might be able to work in a food pantry, and you might have people that run the bakery, run the food pantry. I mean, it's just an idea, we have refrigerators in there. I don't know if that's even an option for people I'm thinking of, but it could be anybody. But I just wanted to know what the board's feeling before I approach the person and say, would you be interested?
Should we have, Sean look at it, make sure it's up to code before we release it?
Well, I mean, it was last used as a bakery in 2008, so I'm 100% positive. The codes have changed.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah.
Oddly enough, Erica received a call today from, what is it, my Mug Bakery or something?
Yeah.
Mug something bakery. Check to see if we would be willing to rent that out as well, so.
So looking to expand. My only concern, like, so I love your idea of food pantry, but my only concern would be the upkeep of the refrigeration systems and the food pantry that's currently down on North Fifth Street, which we used to volunteer with when we were across the street. It creates a line of traffic all the way down North Fifth and up the road. I don't know that that property could sustain that amount of cars. Because a lot of them are doing the drive-through. Yeah, it used to be where everyone came in, but now since COVID, they've gone to a drive-through method. So I mean, the car is just fine forever. It creates.
There would be ADA issues. There's only one bathroom in there, and it's not large enough to accommodate ADA. I know Public Works uses up top for some storage, which I'm sure we could find a different spot for. Maybe in the cottages. I mean, the cottages might be, another option that we could, rent that space out as well.
And now we have one entrance with the park too.
Well, that was a penthouse thing.
No, that's gonna be a thing we bought to the
It's
top.
gonna be a library, so you're gonna have people in and out.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at programming next year of using the barn. I know we received a lot of requests for Pilates, so we were thinking about moving Pilates up in the barn next year. Whatever the board would like.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, the nice thing about the commercial leases is typically the commercial tenant pays for fit out of the space, which releases us from a lot of financial aspects of it.
Yeah, I mean, the plumbing is downstairs as well. There's plumbing range down there, so if the bathroom was put down there, there is downstairs access as part of that barn, so it could be turned over to ADA.
It would almost have to be restrictive though, as far as it could be a bakery open to the public on a small scale, but it would almost have to be more like a remote bakery just because of parking and access issues, right?
So we will be installing a new parking lot on that property in probably about 2 months.
Where?
Right on the other side of BCRA's easement where the water valves are, in that wooded area. Just whenever anyone who drives by TLC this summer sees that we need additional parking. And same thing whenever we do any of our events there to help get away from having to use the shuttle at the old 112 property.
So the board's okay if I tell them to reach out to Jared, maybe to come and look at it, if they're interested?
Right, but we'd have to have Sean give it a once over.
They still have to get a CO.
Yeah, they still have to get a CO. I mean,
Right.
I was in that building and it's in rough shape. I mean, as far as rejuvenating it to be a bakery, turning it into a historical walking thing would be different than actually using it as a bakery. But,
Can't hurt you.
Just, I mean, it's sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, you get some rent money.
Sure.
But, okay, then we have no motion necessary at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Minot?
I'd like to make a motion to direct the township engineer to review the new zoning ordinance rewriting in comparison with SALO regulations to ensure consistency and eliminate any potential conflicts. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
So, John, my vision of this, we're going through this rewrite and creating more conflicts from what I've read so far with SALO. Further confusing, look, I said it in those meetings, I'll say it in these meetings, all the developers want is a clear set of rules. Ours are as clear as mud, just like every other township in the Poconos. And it creates the issues for all the zoning hearing board hearings. It creates people coming here for waivers to every part of the South, and it's the same things every single time. And hopefully it'll eliminate some of the comments, and I meant to bring it to the next planning commission meeting. I just got a review letter from you, it's not for me, for a potential client. It's 180 comments. Half of them could be eliminated if the same thing wasn't said in 3 different places of the ordinance.
Okay, so when you're talking about, and I know what you're referring to in some of those review letters, a lot of it is landscaping, because it's brought up in 3 different sections. So you're not talking about just conflicts between zoning and SALO, you're talking about duplication within the same ordinance itself, and see if that can't be reduced or eliminated.
Yeah, and conflicts between what this board intends and what's going into that zoning part. Because to put the one thing that, and I brought it up at that meeting, the taking some things out of SALO, putting them in zoning, is simply a way to eliminate this board from making the decisions and putting it into a zoning hearing.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a policy decision that the board really has to determine how much of the policy they want to give to the zoning hearing board and how much they want to retain control.
And Stroud Township's a perfect example because this change looks exactly like the 2005 or 6 or whatever year that was.
Right after Crossroads.
Right after Crossroads. Zoning change. That they've been trying, they've been trying to walk back since 2006.
We're in the process of right now.
Right. So why wait, go through this, have this happen and shut down the township essentially for the next 20 years until the board changes it again? I just want to take the opportunity, we're doing it anyway, take the opportunity to eliminate some of the murkiness out of be able to pick up a book that's not 400 pages long and know the rules when you're reading the book.
You want to get rid of redundancy and copies.
Perfect example is
And conflict here.
And
Yeah.
conflict.
Conflict between the two.
zoning does not allow poultry, but SALO does.
Yeah.
So where are we with poultry? Some people have chickens, some people don't, and they can argue both ways, and I'm sure it's not about roosters.
Roosters. I think there's conflicts between steep slopes. I know there's conflicts between parking requirements.
That we know.
I will identify the conflicts and the redundancy, and obviously you have to weigh in as to how you would like to see it resolved.
And I think we want the planning commission involved.
Oh, absolutely.
This was their rewrite, but this is just an opportunity to make the rules clear for everybody.
So,
It takes you 5
it's
years.
been about 2 years working on this.
And it takes you 3 to 5 years to get a project from start to permanent.
At least. If Tannersville Point's going on 8 years.
Huh?
Tannersville Point is going on 8 years.
not something that's gonna get done next week, I can tell you that. It's a little bit of work, you know. But look, I'll come back at my next meeting, and I'll give you an estimate as to where we stand. How's that? I'd rather give you something that's realistic than just shooting the hip. So maybe we won't.
On that, we'd have to postpone the next meeting pending John's.
Right. With the
Yeah, that would- yeah.
With the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no sense. You're
Combo.
deciding two now and you accomplish nothing. Do you agree?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that have to be answered, right?
Yeah, it's slow.
Part of what I saw at the last two meetings that I attended was, I think there's some pretty big philosophical
Yes.
differences too. And I think even Leo spoke to that. And I think what you just asked me to do will probably help point some of those out, but it's not gonna resolve those. That's something that this board and the planning commission is going to have to come to grips with. But yes, I will try to, in my process, I'll try to facilitate that, point it out so that the two boards can then focus on it better.
Thank you. I guess we need to vote.
Oh,
What?
does that motion get tabled until next meeting, or do we just push through stuff?
No, let's push it.
All,
No, we don't vote, no.
anyone from the public have a comment? Okay.
Charles Kepler, resident. I'd just like to say I think it's deeply troubling to see an appointed commissioner who wasn't even elected and a developer himself advocating to cut regulations around our zoning. I think zoning policy is meant to protect the residents from overdevelopment and development in places where we don't necessarily want it as residents. A big reason why there's so many waivers that come before this board is because this board rubber stamps every waiver that comes before it. So of course there are lots of people coming with waivers. If you want to cut down on the waivers, perhaps start denying some of them. Thank you very much.
I just want to comment on that because I think you might have misunderstood. What Brian was proposing tonight was we have conflicting things that he wants to unconflict. It wasn't about changing anything. It was just shoring up the conflictions.
Yeah.
I agree, and Alan, speaking from personal experience, there was a very recent project that I was involved in a different township, that when we were doing our sewage engineering, there was a conflict between zoning and SALDO. And it turned into a large issue within the township, and a waiver was granted immediately because of conflict. So to eliminate situations like that,
And I'd
we
also
need to
like
look at the two.
I'd also like to point out, I think Leo will back me up on this, if there's a conflict, it goes in the favor of the developer, not the township.
100%,
So
every
if
time.
you've got one set of standards in one ordinance and you have a more lenient set in the other, the more lenient is the one that gets awarded to the developer.
That's the way codes work.
That, and I mean, Natasha, you sat on ZHB for a few years,
Correct.
and to be able to turn some of that over to SALDO, or from SALDO over to zoning, gives a secondary board eyes and perspective. So,
I mean, I agree. And I mean, a majority of the waivers that come in front of us are things like, let's not cut more trees to plant little trees.
Mhm.
Those are a lot of the waivers that come in front of this board, almost with every development. Why would, but you want to retain control and have those ordinances in place to say you're required to have X just in case. But
And to follow up with John, a lot of the waivers that are presented have to do with changes in methodology, approved perhaps by the DEP. There's a lot of times when there are certain things that the township requires that's antiquated, and the DEP has come up with another solution. And you see a lot of those, and I know John will hit me because I told him I'm going to speak for him, but they become routine waivers. So the question is, do you make them go through the waiver process, or do you just, as part of this, update the regulations so that they're consistent with today's standards?
I agree. That's what it's all right. This is just complete personal attacks from somebody that has no idea what they're talking about and has never looked in the code book. anything that I say up here, he's gonna try to use against me. And that's, you've all done a great job of pointing out, but it's not gonna make any difference to him or his Facebook page.
Anyone else in the public have a comment? Anyone down the phone have a comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Velarde?
Okay, the Golden Slipper update. Well, it looks like they're about ready to put a final coat of asphalt on the lower part of Golden Slipper. And hopefully their estimate of September 1st will be accurate. And we'll be rid of that albatross. I don't have the zoning people here, so I can't ask them about the Barton Glen Tent City. But I'll be glad to give an update on Saturday's Pocono Olympics, where the police department, led by Chief Wagner, who I'm glad to see is up and walking again.
He's still sore.
He's still sore. The police department won that with 41 points, I believe. Stroudsburg CrossFit came in second. And they had 30 points, I believe. Third place was the Triple Dippers, a team of random people who just like ice cream, I guess. Triple Dipper.
They were
Fans of ice cream?
there were some park workers and their families.
Oh, okay. Park workers and their family. They came in third, and the fire department brought up the rear, and we gave them all hula hoops because we didn't have any aluminum medals. Yes, Joe?
I noticed that we did beat the cops.
In the tub. I didn't get there yet. Jeez, Joe. You know, I'm fat and I'm slow, but come on. Give me, the fire department did win the tug of war, and there was no cheating involved. We made sure of that. And one last thing. The youngest picture of you is also the oldest picture of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, tonight under reports for zoning, do we have Sean or Lindsay?
That'll be the next meeting.
Next meeting, okay. Chief Wagner?
Thank you. I didn't follow that.
You do? Sorry.
All right. So, first I'd like to say everybody did an amazing job with that event. It was very well organized, and we had a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to it next year for sure. So earlier today I sent the July report. Everybody received that? So I'd just like to summarize the stats for public. We had, for the month of July, we had 1,265 calls for service. 39 traffic accidents were investigated. 447 traffic contacts were made. 22 criminal arrests were made, and there were 10 summary arrests that were made for the month of July.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any questions for the chief? No? Thanks. Mr. Belvin?
Thank you, Ms. Vice President. Website is getting there. We are approximately 2 to 3 weeks away. Yes, I know the zoning is still working with some changes. We had a meeting on Friday, so 2 to 3 weeks. Get the timeline on that. Next one, I don't know. I don't think it merits any motion, but we are starting to have an issue with the basketball courts again. Now, Mountain View, as everyone knows, we had received a grant to put basketball courts in TLC many years ago. We had 2 shootings, and we converted to pickleball. Last year we did resurface. The 2 basketball courts up there turned into 1 basketball court and added additional pickleball. The police have had to respond 2 times in the past week alone in regards to people refusing to leave at the end of the night and or smoking weed or harassing reports on numerous occasions this year, creating extra work on the park crew. We are currently undergoing a new camera refit over down that way. I just wanted to put it out there that if things keep up, I might have to come to the board and ask for their opinion on how to do it next. We will.
An entrance, we are trying to offset some of that stuff.
We can't do one there. But we are locking the gate at night now, and the park crew is requiring them to leave at sunset. So just
Hey, Jared, how are we trashing it?
they're just leaving garbage all over the place, water bottles, shoes, food to go containers.
Shoes?
Yeah.
I wouldn't lock it up right now. Put a chain around the gate and lock it up.
Just putting it on everyone's radar.
Can the police patrol it a little more? Have you been called out there, Jim?
Yeah, we've had calls, and obviously we respond and address those issues immediately. But I think the guys are doing their best to be everywhere.
Right.
So we've got multiple parks throughout the township. So I think maybe better camera equipment. We talked about facial recognition software, that kind of stuff. So I think that's something we should be considering to help us investing. But we can try to be a little bit more proactive, try to get out there a little more often, but our call volume has prevented that. So.
Thank you.
I think some of the more nefarious activity is occurring later in the day, so if it continues, maybe we could consider adjusting the hours and then closing it or something. I'd really like not to see it closed. Yeah. Obviously, as a basketball guy and someone who built it last year, or oversaw the construction of it, I'd really like to see it available for the public, so hopefully we can figure out a way to keep it open, but it's discouraging, it really is. So.
There was a fellow that came to us when we were changing the other ones around from basketball to pickleball.
Yep.
Is he a township president?
No,
It's
There? Get his name.
And the rest of the law, I nailed this to the law for the
Yeah,
judge.
but we had volunteers to help keep these things from escalating to the point that the police need to be involved, residents are complaining. That would be a big help.
Yeah, we have not heard from that gentleman since.
Isn't Pat down in your neck of the woods? What's the church across from the big wheel that has a basketball league? Labor Club. I wonder if we could contact them and see if there's any sort of mentors or whatever that could, on a busy weekend or something, that might want to volunteer up here and sort of help keep things.
I could do some investigating.
Is that Pembroke or is that different?
It's near it, but it's different.
Anything that would help make sure it stays open and that we don't have something bad happen up there like we did at the other one.
Any other questions from the board? Next, as we're getting into budget season, we're undergoing our comprehensive insurance review. On a positive note, we did receive a clean bill of health. We had no claims that were from our end over the past year. Anything else was either path gas or somebody hit our light and, our insurance company went after their insurance company. But we do not expect any kind of large rate increase for next year. And just a quick thing for the grants updates, most of the cosmic color lighting has been installed at night for TLC Park, and we are waiting for a couple more fountain pieces to come in, but that is set to be completed hopefully by the end of this month or early September. Or any questions? That's all I have today.
I have a question. Does our safety committee still meet, and are we still getting our insurance discount because of that?
We do. That's through Tyler Lucart with MRM, but we do have our annual safety meeting review as well. I believe it's September 19th. I have to check, but yes.
Any other
couple of updates and then some motions that I'd ask the board to consider. We did install the portable flow meter that the board approved a couple of meetings ago. So we'll be using that to monitor I&I at different locations throughout our system. I'll keep the board apprised if we have any interesting data to report. We also began the Cobble Creek drainage project. We're doing some maintenance on the swales up there, replacing some culverts. Started that work this morning, and I expect that to continue for probably the next week or so. I had a pre-construction meeting up at the future Brookdale Spa last week. It was well attended. Our engineer had representation there. The Monroe County Conservation District went through their pre-con meeting, and I think everything's in line there for that to be a good project and not have any adverse impacts on the township. Regarding the motions that I spoke of, I'd asked the board to consider the purchase for a gate for the rear access lot of this building from Mount Pocono Fence in the amount of $17,875.
I'll make a motion to purchase the gate for the rear parking lot from Mount Pocono Fence in the amount of $17,875. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Pat, how's that going to be actuated?
It's going to be on a roller, and it's going to be, when you first come into the lot, we're going to have to do a little bit of clearing of tree work. I've actually got it marked out on the ground if you want to take a look at it.
So it's by hand?
No,
Is it automated?
It'll be automated, yeah. We're going to be taking power from a pole that's at the end of the street there, which is actually.
Yeah, it's very over the surface.
Where is this at? Like right behind the building or up above on that?
So if you come around the building towards the back lot, Ellen, when you just are ready to make that left-hand turn in the lot, right there, adjacent to the existing detention basin that is there. So it'll be a sliding gate. I'd be happy to show you if you want to come back and take a look at it. It'll secure that back lot area for the township and then also for potential future use as well.
And then a pressure pad like that.
Yeah, it goes by loop sensors and LPR, so it integrates with the devices. No, the camera reads the LPR, as the employee, the police officer would pull in, it opens the gate automatically.
So this lot that's in the back, who uses it? The employees?
The employees in the police department.
Is it in the budget? Because we never, where's that money coming from?
It'll come from the general fund after it's part of our NCC construction line.
It's in there.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
His price is $4,225 for that gate with a electric gate.
Well, no, it's 17.
17 total.
Yeah, 17.
It's still
I saw it went crazy more. I thought that was offensive.
We had
That's still shooting.
we had reached out to two other companies, Promax, who we've used quite a few times,
Yeah.
and both other companies failed to bid. They stated they're just too busy.
Any other questions?
This gate will also
Anyone
be.
in public have a question or comment? Anyone dialed by phone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
Thank you. Second item would be motion to purchase Kubota V-Series UTV in the amount of $43,334.48 from the capital budget. That's a CoStar's purchase, and it also includes attachments for the UTV. This is something that was included in the budget. It was anticipated with the various properties that we would need an additional piece of equipment to do maintenance for these properties. So,
just for the record, it's 45,334.48, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. I will make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Again, is this in the budget?
Yes, it's for the
Is it in the
standpoint of
public works
capital.
budget?
Capital.
Any questions or comments? Anyone down on my phone have a question or comment? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
Thank you. And then my last item is a follow-up from some prior board discussion regarding line striping. I prepared a schedule of various roads throughout the township with the help of some of my foremen, speaking with Manager Belvin, and some input from board members here. So this is a COG bid item. It's basically a lineal foot bid item. And what I'm proposing is actually a little bit below what our budget line item is. So if there's any other roads that someone wanted to consider, let me know. But this is what I'm proposing based on physical investigation and input from my people that I work with.
So are you looking for a motion just to accept this? We're not awarding the bid yet, correct? Okay.
It's already been bid, it's through.
It's a COG bid, it's already bid. I'm just gonna present the contractor with the roads that we wish to have line striped.
Okay.
So this is for approval to do the work based on the schedule.
Okay, perfect.
So we have to use the amount.
Well, I can't do that now.
I don't think so. I kind of added that just for your benefit. The amount is the amount that's in COG. It is the 18 cents per double yellow line. That was the awarded bid under COG, and 9.8 cents for the single white line.
In order for us to spend money, don't we have to list the amount of the motion, Lou? The total?
You should, the anticipated maximum amount.
We can do it not to exceed.
Yeah, you can do it not to exceed, absolutely.
So it's like not to exceed 34.
44,801.
I think it's 34.
It's 34.
34,801.
So can I just, Leo, can I do it just not to exceed $35,000?
You can amend your motion.
I didn't make a motion
Okay,
yet.
yes, it would be to approve the line striping in an amount not to exceed 34,800 and change.
So I'll make a motion to approve the line striping quantities for 2025, not to exceed 35,000. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion? Any questions or comments regarding this motion? No. Anyone down by phone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
Thank you very much. That's it for my report. Unless anybody has any questions.
Any questions? Thank you. Township engineer report, Mr. Chesney.
Thank you, Natasha. Sewer business, we're continuing to work on the two areas of expansion, which is Apartmentsville Avenue area and going up towards Camelback. Learn Road Safety Enhancement Project, as we know, that is on hold. I'll have something on that more towards the end of my report. The TASA project, we're fairly close to getting the engineering drawings complete. I think we have all but one of the right-of-ways that we need, and we're working on coordinating with the utilities right now. So that's moving ahead as we had hoped. The TLC walking bridge, I've developed some working drawings on that, and I hope possibly by next meeting to have possibly two alternatives to present. There's two different lengths of bridges we could go with depending on what the board feels they would like to see out there, so hopefully I'll have that worked out with related costs. Turkey Hill, I left another message for their engineer, voicemail. I haven't heard back, so I don't think he's deliberately avoiding me, but I don't think he has an answer from his client. Staten Road signage and curve painting. I think Public Works is working on adding some signs out there. They were added They were at it? Yep. Okay. Takes care of that. Pocono Circle and Skyview Drive. I've started that study. I was out on site. I've got some preliminary ideas that I have to follow through on, but that study has been started.
Is it Skyview? Or you?
Sky High.
Or Sky High, I'm sorry.
Okay.
John, if I could just follow up on the signage as well. There was a concern expressed here a couple of meetings ago by a resident from Jackson Township regarding the static bridge. I just want to let the board know that I did replace the signs on the Staten Bridge in accordance with the recommendations from the report that we received from the PennDOT Bridge Inspector.
Okay.
So exactly as they laid it out in their report, we replaced the signs. So that's been addressed in the Staten Bridge.
And the last item that I have on my formal report goes back to the Learn Road roundabout work. As you know, we haven't been able to start that work yet. We still haven't obtained all of the necessary right-of-way that we need. We were also hoping to fit it in over the summer between school letting out and starting again in the fall, and that hasn't happened. I did receive correspondence from the low bidder, actually the contractor that the job was awarded to, Northeast Site Contractors, and they asked to be released from the contract. The contract documents, there's two provisions in there under these circumstances. If the contractor is held up through no fault of his own for a period of more than 90 days, he does have the right to ask to be let out of the contract. The correspondence I received was premature. The 90 days don't end until August 28th, but still the request is out there. The board, the contract documents also address specifically obtaining easements, and the contract documents do say that if the board doesn't have all the necessary easements, they may extend the contract time until the easements are acquired. Naturally, the contractor has to agree to this, and he may also request additional funds depending on the length of the delay. So I believe there's a question before the board as to whether they want to terminate the contract with Northeast, or whether they want to see if Northeast wants to extend the contract and possibly make a time and money, well, we have to make a time adjustment, an appropriate money adjustment.
So, John, with this contract, what might be for Leo too, is there a timeline at this point for completing the easements to be able to negotiate with the contractor?
We are currently in negotiation with one of the remaining landowners, and I do not have a timeline for it.
It could end up in litigation. One of the main concerns is that the project managers did call me on this a couple weeks ago, and one of the main concerns of the board always was that we didn't want to interrupt school traffic. We received 3 out of 4 easements. The 4th easement is, without going into detail, could end up in litigation. So there's absolutely no way the township could get this job done unless we interrupted the buses along with winter coming. So there's the possibilities there if we ever had any winter weather of extending this out into the holiday season.
Yeah, Jared, I mean, there's no way that this project could be done this year, even if we started tomorrow, because the asphalt plants would shut down before we get to the point where we could lay asphalt. So it would have to be extended into next year. The contractor may say that's unreasonable because he can't control prices. So That's a consideration.
Yeah, and that was also a concern of the utility engineers as well.
So, I mean, I think they asked to get out, but, so I think we should honor that and maybe date it August 28th, because right, they can't date it any time before then, effective.
90, they have to wait 90 days
Right.
for no work, so yeah, we have to be effective August 28th.
But couldn't, so this will have to be rebid, right? And at that time, everybody
Yes.
can get their ducks in a row, and we can get our ducks in a row, so it can
Yeah.
happen. And it could be rebid.
Yes.
That's correct.
And I would suggest rebidding it, for a spring start, or, well, a school, right as soon as school lets out.
Yeah, it's the end of May.
But there's, with the way construction is going, and just getting normal everyday product takes lead time anymore. So once you award the bid, doesn't mean the contractor starts the next day. I mean, he's got to, first of all, he has to do his paperwork. Then after that, he has to order materials, and some materials have longer lead times than others.
So if we have to rebid this, would that be like a next year thing, or is that something that needs to be bid right away, or can it wait till January, February?
I don't think we can even we can even put it out for bid until we know what's going on with that easement. Because if this does end up in litigation, who knows how long
Yeah,
it's going to take.
and I would agree with Jared on that. We don't want to go through this again.
Yeah. Right, no, I mean, I would, once we own it, if we have to go into domain, condemnation, then we own it, and then we set the schedule. And I think it would be premature to do that, and then wind up in litigation for a year and a half, and still not be able, and then having paid for rebidding, et cetera, et cetera. I think once we get the property in hand, then the Board of Commissioners can do whatever it pleases.
And I did let DCED know that this is a possibility. They were comfortable granting an extension on that grant.
Leo, before I make this motion, obviously, in your legal opinion, is it fair to hold this contractor to this bid?
This contractor? Yes. Any other contractor?
A contractor, sorry.
Nice. No. The answer is no, obviously not. I mean, with fluctuating prices, current state of our economy, everything else, I don't think it's fair to hold the contractor a year, which is about what it would be, almost, a year to that bid.
Thank you.
I'd like to bring something up. So there was an accusation made online yesterday accusing you of a criminal act, which is rigging this bid for Northeast Site. I'd like to ask both John and Leo if I've been involved in the planning or design of this job or the writing of the contract in any way, shape, or form from day one of this project.
You haven't communicated with me unless you authored some of this. You haven't had anything to do with any of the contract specifications or drawings.
And I will add that you have not contacted me in any way, nor am I aware that any of the board members have been contacted, and somehow bid rigging is a pretty serious charge, and I would hope that that would not be made to anybody without proof before making that accusation. That's a strong, it's
a campaign deal, but
well, I don't know who, when, where, what. I'm not following it that closely, but I would hope that anybody that makes that allegation would have proof, because that's a pretty damning strong allegation.
With that, I would like to make a motion to release Northeast Site from their contract and their bond be returned regarding the Learn Road Roundabout project. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion?
I abstain. I have ownership interest in Northeast Site.
Do we have to put the date in there as?
Yeah, I would, effective August 28th, correct.
Effective August 28th.
I accept it,
Right?
yes.
Any discussion? Any comment from the public? Go ahead, Bruce.
Charles Kepler, resident. I would just like to quote from Section 1103 of the Pennsylvania Ethics Act, subsection F. In such a case as a public official or public employee is related to a business with which, which received a public contract, they shall not have any supervisory or overall responsibility for the implementation or administration of the contract. As owner of Northeast Site Contractor, Commissioner Wynot obviously would have overall authority over any contract that his business was executing for the township. That was the claim I made against him. The purpose of that law is to make sure that all contractors who are bidding for jobs in Pocono Township, and so that the residents can trust that there was no behavior by the Board of Commissioners or by anyone associated with the Board of Commissioners that could lead to a conflict of interest or any kind of illegal activity. That was the claim that I made, to be perfectly clear. I did not accuse anyone of anything other than violating the Pennsylvania Ethics Act, which I do believe Commissioner Wynot did by accepting this bid. Thank you very much.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
You expect if anyone is a public servant that their business just cannot be involved in any projects regardless of whether it's a sealed bid or not?
Not if he's the owner of the company. He cannot have any direct supervisory, or direct or indirect. It says any supervisory authority for the administration or execution of the contract. If he is the owner of the company, of course he would have a responsibility for the execution of the contract.
As the owner of a company, not as a city commissioner, correct?
Well, as a city commissioner, and well,
But they
well,
just both said that he wasn't involved in anything regarding the contract regarding. Right, John? Can you repeat what you said, please?
Oh,
sorry.
I had no discussions regarding the project during the design, development, or writing the specifications with Commissioner Wynot.
it doesn't matter whether or not he was involved in writing it. I'm not accusing him of being involved in writing it. No, I did not accuse you of that. I said that if you can, yeah, I mean, you have screenshots of me saying it creates a perception that things are happening that are unlawful. If you're not following the ethics, the purpose of the Pennsylvania Ethics Act is to ensure that public officials
When
are
you said I
following
wrote
the
the
law.
contract to swing it towards my company.
I did not say that.
accused
No.
me of fraud. Okay, well, we'll see if you do.
Okay, yeah, no, please do.
Sure.
Because the law, the Pennsylvania Ethics Act, requires that you not be involved in any contracts with the township.
With
Well, you,
Northeast Site's administration of this contract since the day it was bid. We are 85 people. I don't see every job that comes in and out of.
you're the owner of the company,
So what?
Commissioner Wynot.
So what?
So
Charles?
what do you
know
so
how
what?
this- What? So, do you know anything about business? Do you know how a business works and how people have to delegate things?
Yes,
Do you know how
generally.
my company works and how we delegate things? We have a senior estimator, we have senior project managers, and we have engineers. They work autonomously on a lot of
They
things.
work for you, Commissioner Wynot. They have to report to you. You have ultimate authority. You have ultimate authority as the owner of the company. Of course you do.
You're absolutely right. So, does that create an ethics violation?
I have seen many commissioners abstain from votes, yet I've only seen one be accused of an ethics violation. I'm not sure why, Mr. Kessler. I'll be honest with you.
He did not, Commissioner Wynot did not disclose the nature, Commissioner Wynot did not disclose the nature of his conflict of interest at the April 21st meeting when he initially voted, abstained from the vote. He did not submit the ethics form to the township, at least it was not included in the minutes, it was not included with the agenda.
Yes, he did.
Okay, well, it was not posted publicly, and you did not make a public disclosure. There was no public disclosure made before that vote was taken.
Okay.
This is multiple layers.
Your time is up. We're going to bring the meeting back to order. But I would also like to point out for the record that you are standing here arguing for a contractor who was $100,000 under the next bid, saving the taxpayers $100,000, and you're sitting here arguing about it.
Yes.
That's literally what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Your minute's up.
Because he's running for office.
I know.
Exactly. I cured cancer. Do you want to weigh in on that and how bad that was?
Is there anyone else who has a public comment? Is there anyone down on my phone who has a comment?
Hi, I do.
Sure. Can you please say your
My name is Josie Kepler. I am a Pocono Township resident. And I just wanted to clarify, so when Charles read that law out, are you saying but we don't need to abide by that? Or I'm a little confused.
Leo, can you answer that?
No, the ethics law is to be followed and abided by. I don't think anybody said that we should ignore the Ethics Act. Nobody is doing that. I mean, to Mr. Kepler's credit, I think he's made this board more aware of ethics violations. I've seen more abstentions in the last 4 or 5 months of commissioners not voting on things. That's all we're saying. Nobody's saying don't abide by the Ethics Act.
So I guess my other question is, when this rebids, would we accept a bid from Northeast Site?
Why would we not?
I don't know that anything prevents that. Especially at $100,000 less.
So we're accepting bids as long as it's saving us money. We're allowed to violate ethics laws.
No, actually not, because if there was a bid lower than Northeast Site Contractors, it would have been awarded to Northeast Site Contractors and not Northeast.
As was the paving bid.
The object of going out to bid is to get the lowest qualified bidder for a project. That is the way that municipal governments, all governments should work, but municipal governments work. The object is to protect the taxpayer.
I think the municipal government should be following the Pennsylvania state laws. I think those are in place. So I do think that we need to really consider whether that law is being abided by or whether it's pretended that it's not.
And I take personal exception to that, Mrs. Kepler. I am the one who's responsible for making sure our township follows those laws. I do it diligently. I do it daily. I get challenged by commissioners from time to time on issues. I research them. I take that comment very personally. Because that's a direct
I'm sorry, it was
attack.
not meant to be personal.
It is.
Not mean to offend
When you are accusing this municipality, Pocono Township, of violating any laws, that is a direct reflection on me. A direct reflection on me, and I take exception to that.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, your time's up. Anyone else dial on my phone? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstaining.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried. Mr. DeVito, the floor is yours.
Yes, I want to apologize to the board and to the public and those listening. I apologize for my outbursts, but I do take what I do quite personally and try to do the best that I can for my clients. So I apologize for my outbursts. It's not my typical demeanor, but it was a direct attack on your legal advice in this township. So I apologize. No, I do. I do.
We appreciate it.
Well, I do. First of all, I'd like to just announce to the public that the Board of Commissioners met in executive session tonight to discuss personnel issues, ongoing and potential litigation issues, and real estate acquisition. I wanted to make sure that was part of the record. With regard to the sewer business update, we are internally, administratively circulating updated rules and regulations for our sewer usage or a sewer conveyance. I expect to have that to the board within the next couple of weeks for your review. Ultimately, it will be an action item. We have been very busy from a general legal update standpoint. For the public's knowledge, we received a decision from the Commonwealth Court of Pennsylvania. It was the appeal of Heinze LLC, that is the Sunset Shooting Range. The township prevailed at the zoning hearing level, prevailed in the Court of Common Pleas, but the Commonwealth Court has reversed that decision, and we are currently looking at that to make a decision as to advising the board whether or not we believe that further legal action in that regard would be appropriate. There's nothing to report concerning Archer Lane. We discussed the Learned Road easement process. We have one more piece of property that we're working to acquire. We've also discussed the TASA sidewalk easements. I believe that we have most of those, and we're very close to having all of those in place. The next item, as this board will recall, about a little over a year ago, the PJJ, Pocono Jackson Joint Water Authority, sold, it's the old Butts environmental site. The PJJWA was formed when that was declared a Superfund site. The BCRA wanted to acquire that. It was a long and arduous process, but ultimately the PJJWA facilities were acquired by the Brody Creek Regional Authority. It's been about a year. The PJJ, although it has no assets, continues to exist, and it's been requested by Mr. Maturgia, who was involved, representing the PJJWA as their solicitor, to Mr. Weitzman, Jackson Township solicitor, and myself, that perhaps it's now time to actually dissolve the PJJWA, put it in a box with a bow on it, and put it up on a shelf. If the board is inclined tonight, we could I would entertain a motion to begin the dissolution process of the Joint Water Authority.
I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Discussion?
Yes, I remember this. I don't know if this board was here or it was a different board at the time. But the initial thing, there was a loan, I think. We were on that loan?
That was paid off. That was paid off at closing.
Okay.
BCRA paid that off.
And the grant was transferred over to that.
Okay.
And the grant transferred, yes.
And then whatever the cash was, did we get our, whatever, did we get it?
That's a good question. You know, I haven't heard anything about the cash. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will check that.
I just want to make sure we got everything that we were supposed to get, and I thought that agreement, I thought we were on the hook for a while. So is that time expired, or are we still on the hook for things?
I mean, we could wait it out until a 2-year period for any potential claims.
I mean, we're on the hook, if we dissolve it and we're legally liable for whatever that time period was, what's dissolving gonna do?
Well, either way, you would be on the hook. It's more of a ministerial act. I understand that there may have been some issues with a line out there not too long ago. You know, my thought is we wait at least 2 years to see if there's any claims, personally.
Was that the time limit, 2 years?
2 years is a negligence claim, yes.
That's what was in our contract that we signed when we.
It was discussed. That was an open issue as to how long, but it was always discussed that it would be about 2 years. You know.
I thought it was in writing.
I don't believe the 2 year. I don't believe the dissolution was in writing. That was more left up to the municipalities. You know, I think Ralph was trying to wind down his practice and wants to tie up this loose end, but I think it might be a little premature. But I was asked to bring it before the board. So if you want to just sort of make a note, Jared, to reactivate this, you know, another 8, 9 months from now, probably better off.
I'll make a motion to table.
Second. Discussion? Anyone from the public have a comment? Anyone dialing by phone? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carried.
One of our favorite, most recent topics, Knox box ordinance. I believe it has been amended and circulated. We'd like to know whether or not the board would approve the advertisement of that ordinance amendment.
Make a motion to approve to advertise for the Knox box ordinance.
The amendment to it.
The amendment, sorry. the amendment.
Second. Discussion?
I'm just gonna say, as everybody already knows, I'm opposed to this ordinance.
I spoke with, just, and I didn't put it in the meeting. I spoke with a, you spoke with the New York City Fire. I spoke with a New York City fire official who said the unwritten rule is if there's a lock on the front door, it's not box. If there's not a lock on the front door, which I had no idea what that meant, he explained a lot of these buildings up to the official, which I think you put in your email, that it's up to the official. The policy that the officials have adopted is if there's a lock, you have a Knox box.
And I have the privilege of working with the past fire chief of Clifton, New Jersey. He's our new fire inspector at the state of New Jersey. And I asked him, in Clifton, which is a relatively big town, do you have Knox boxes? And he said, everybody's got a Knox box. We don't make it a law, but everybody's got one. And he is the past fire official for Jersey City. And he said, in Jersey City, you don't have a choice. And so they need it. That's it. And I explained in an email why I feel we need them. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The bottom line is the fire company wants them.
Mhm.
It makes their job easier.
Mhm.
I mean, just like
Makes their job safer.
safer,
Yeah.
easier. They get home at night, all of those things
Mhm.
for a $500 box. I don't see an issue with it.
Any other discussions? Anyone from the public have a comment?
The money that you would save if the fire department had to pop a door, break a door open, because somebody didn't want a lockbox, you'd be paying twice as much more, at least twice as much more than that box.
Well, Joe, the fire company has paid for doors that they've knocked down.
Right.
Thank you. Anyone else have public comment? Anyone down in Wacom? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Nay. Motion carried. I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brian. Aye. All in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Aye, everybody. Thank you.
Monkey's dead, the show's over.